Here's the next radio I'm going to work on. It's a nice Zenith 500D. Let's see. I've got batteries in it. It makes no noise at all. So, we'll take a look at a few things and see if we can't figure out what's going on. Okay, the radio's still turned on, and this radio's got a positive ground. And across here is 6.4 volts, and that gets connected up here, and the switch is still on, but there's one thing wrong. It's wide open. Okay, I put alligator clips across that, and you can see that it's actually drawing a little bit of current now because the voltage is down just a little bit, but there's still no noise out of there. When I touch the alligator clips across it, I still don't get anything out of the speaker. But here's an earphone. I do hear hissing. But no stations or anything. Here's the back of the switch. That's wide open. And what I did was I put a very small amount of WD-40 on the back material in these three places. And after about a half an hour, while I'm checking other things and taking the radio out of the cabinet, the switch started working again. Now I've removed the radio chassis from the cabinet, and here you can see the speaker, and notice that the cone is convex, which is the way it's supposed to be, and there's only one wire connected to it. So I looked around, and of course here is the broken wire that goes to the outside of the speaker. This is the wiring diagram of the Zenith 500D, and after I have replaced all of the electrolytic capacitors and connected the speaker wires with alligator clips and turned it on, and I do get noise out of the speaker but no stations, so I start measuring voltages to see if I can't find something that doesn't match what I see on the wiring diagram. And when I get to the oscillator, the voltages are reading low. So I took some notes of the readings, and the bottom row of numbers is the original reading. The E was a minus 0.6, the base was a minus 0.8, and the collector was a minus 2 volts. That's pretty low. So what I did was, since these were in sockets, I took the oscillator transistor out, dipped the connections in a little bit of WD-40, wiped it off, and plugged it back in, and then turned it on, and the radio started to play, and the top row of numbers is what I read. I go, terrific, this is wonderful. Well, that didn't last very long. It played great for about a minute, and then started to get noisy, and pretty much all that was left after a minute and a half was noise. But the voltages for the oscillator were still good, so that should mean that the oscillator is working correctly. So I looked around and measured more voltages, and it was looking like I was going to have to get the scope out because I couldn't find any bad resistors, couldn't really find anything wrong. Of course, I kept trying many things. I gently twisted the circuit board, and there was no change. And it would play occasionally. It was very flaky. I kept tapping on a few places. And the closer I got to the variable capacitor, I noticed that I could get more of a change when I was tapping on the variable capacitor. So I decided to clean out the capacitor even though it looked like brand new. And that's where the problem was. And in this next video clip, as I'm cleaning out the capacitor, I used a small brush and a can of air, you'll actually hear the radio stop playing. On the second half of that clip, you heard another burst of air and it started playing again. Of course, I continued to thoroughly clean that variable capacitor, and then I did an alignment on it and put it all back together, and now it really plays terrific.
95, which ran as Jack holding on to a 20. As well as me. So for two consecutive times and 70 Glenwood Avenue into Raleigh.
View the online seminar. News Talk 750 WSB, Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic station.
Hey, this is Neil Bortz. Tomorrow morning, listen to Scott Slade and Atlanta's Morning News on News Talk 750 WSB, because you really can't afford to not know what's going on.
All right, so if you missed the opening segment, I can't go back. If you